Chapter 21 of The Indiscretions of Archie, by P.G. Wodehouse. Read by Mark Nelson. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Indiscretions of Archie, Chapter 21, The Growing Boy. The lobby of the Cosmopolis Hotel was a favorite stamping ground of Mr. Daniel Brewster, its proprietor. He liked to wander about there, keeping a paternal eye on things, rather in the manner of the jolly innkeeper, hereinafter to be referred to as mine host, of the old-fashioned novel. Customers who, hurrying in to dinner, tripped over Mr. Brewster, were apt to mistake him for the hotel detective, for his eye was keen and his aspect a trifle austere. But nevertheless he was being as jolly an innkeeper as he knew how. His presence in the lobby supplied a personal touch to the Cosmopolis which other New York hotels lacked, and it undeniably made the girl at the bookstall extraordinarily civil to her clients, which was all to the good. Most of the time Mr. Brewster stood in one spot, and just looked thoughtful. But now and again he would wander to the marble slab behind which he kept the desk clerk, and run his eye over the register, to see who had booked rooms, like a child examining the stocking on Christmas morning to ascertain what Santa Claus had brought him. As a rule, Mr. Brewster concluded this performance by shoving the book back across the marble slab and resuming his meditations. But one night, a week or two after the sausage chappie's sudden restoration to the normal, he varied this procedure by starting rather violently, turning purple, and uttering an exclamation which was manifestly an exclamation of chagrin. He turned abruptly and cannoned into Archie, who, in company with Lucille, happened to be crossing the lobby at the moment on his way to dine in their suite. Mr. Brewster apologized gruffly, then, recognizing his victim, seemed to regret having done so. "Oh, it's you! Why can't you look where you're going?" he demanded. He had suffered much from his son-in-law. "Frightfully sorry," said Archie amiably. "Never thought you were going to fox-trot backwards all over the fairway." "You mustn't bully Archie," said Lucille severely, attaching herself to her father's back hair and giving it a punitive tug. "Because he's an angel, and I love him, and you must learn to love him too." "Give your lessons at a reasonable rate," murmured Archie. Mr. Brewster regarded his young relative with a lowering eye. "What's the matter, father darling?" asked Lucille. "You seem upset." "I am upset," Mr. Brewster snorted. "Some people have got a nerve." He glowered forbiddingly at an inoffensive young man in a light overcoat who had just entered, and the young man, though his conscience was quite clear, and Mr. Brewster an entire stranger to him, stopped dead, blushed, and went out again, to dine elsewhere. "Some people have got the nerve of an army mule." "Why, what's happened?" "Those darned McCalls have registered here." "No." "Bit beyond me, this," said Archie, insinuating himself into the conversation. "Deep waters and what not. Who are the McCalls?" "Some people father dislikes," said Lucille, "and they've chosen his hotel to stop at. But, father dear, you mustn't mind. It's really a compliment. They've come because they know it's the best hotel in New York." "Absolutely," said Archie. "Good accommodation for man and beast. All the comforts of home. Look on the bright side, old bean. No good getting the wind up. Cheerio, old companion." "Don't call me old companion." "Eh, what? Oh, righto." Lucille steered her husband out of the danger zone, and they entered the lift. "Poor father," she said as they went to their suite. "It's a shame." They must have done it to annoy him. This man McCall has a place next to some property Father bought in Westchester, and he's bringing a lawsuit against Father about a bit of land which he claims belongs to him. He might have had the tact to go to another hotel. But after all, I don't suppose it was the poor little fellow's fault. He does whatever his wife tells him to." "We all do that," said Archie, the married man. Lucille eyed him fondly. "Isn't it a shame, precious, that all husbands haven't nice wives like me?" "When I think of you, by Jove," said Archie fervently, "I want to babble. Absolutely babble." "Oh, I was telling you about the McCalls. Mr. McCall is one of those little meek men, and his wife's one of those big bullying women. It was she who started all the trouble with Father. Father and Mr. McCall were very fond of each other till she made him begin the suit. I feel sure she made him come to this hotel just to annoy Father. Still, they've probably taken the most expensive suite in the place, which is something." Archie was at the telephone. His mood was now one of quiet peace. Of all the happenings which went to make up existence in New York, he liked best the cosy tete-a-tete dinners with Lucille in their suite, which, owing to their engagements, for Lucille was a popular girl with many friends, occurred all too seldom. "Touching now the question of browsing and sluicing," he said, "I'll be getting them to send along a waiter." "Oh, good gracious!" "What's the matter?" "I've just remembered. I promised faithfully I would go and see Jane Murchison today, and I clean forgot. I must rush." "But, light of my soul, we are about to eat. Pop around and see her after dinner." "I can't. She's going to a theatre tonight." "Give her the jolly old missing baulk then, for the nonce, and spring round tomorrow." "She's sailing for England tomorrow morning, early. No, I must go and see her now." "What a shame! She's sure to make me stop to dinner, I tell you what. Order something for me, and if I'm not back in half an hour, start." "Jane Murchison," said Archie, "is a bally nuisance." "Yes, but I've known her since she was 8. "If her parents had had any proper feeling," said Archie, "they would have drowned her long before that." He unhooked the receiver and asked despondently to be connected with room service. He thought bitterly of the exigent Jane, whom he recollected dimly as a tall female with teeth. He half thought of going down to the grill-room on the chance of finding a friend there, but the waiter was on his way to the room. He decided that he might as well stay where he was. The waiter arrived, booked the order, and departed. Archie had just completed his toilet after a shower bath when a musical clinking without announced the advent of the meal. He opened the door. The waiter was there, with a table congested with things under covers, from which escaped a savory and appetizing odor. In spite of his depression, Archie's soul perked up a trifle. Suddenly he became aware that he was not the only person present who was deriving enjoyment from the scent of the meal. Standing beside the waiter, and gazing wistfully at the foodstuffs, was a long, thin boy of about 16. He was one of those boys who seem all legs and knuckles. He had pale red hair, sandy eyelashes, and a long neck, and his eyes, as he removed them from the table and raised them to Archie's, had a hungry look. He reminded Archie of a half-grown, half-starved hound. "That smells good," said the long boy. He inhaled deeply. "Yes, sir," he continued, as one whose mind is definitely made up, "that smells good." Before Archie could reply, the telephone bell rang. It was Lucille, confirming her prophecy that the pest Jane would insist on her staying to dine. "Jane," said Archie into the telephone, "is a pot of poison. The waiter is here now, setting out a rich banquet, and I shall have to eat 2 of everything by myself." He hung up the receiver, and, turning, met the pale eye of the long boy,